I knew everything was about to go sideways when my email notification chimed at 4:47 p.m. on a Friday. You know that sound usually means someone's asking about the weekend maintenance schedule or wondering why they can't access their files after clicking on another suspicious link. But this wasn't about password resets or phishing attempts. This was a digital hand grenade with the pin pulled, accidentally delivered to my inbox by a 24-year-old named Ryan Pierce, who thinks cybersecurity is something you can learn from YouTube tutorials. I'm Jason Walsh. I'm 48 years old, been the senior IT security analyst at Cyberflow Technologies here in Austin for 15 years. I built this company's entire security infrastructure from the ground up. While these kids were still figuring out which end of a computer mouse to hold, I was writing the code that keeps their paychecks from getting stolen by hackers in Romania. So there I was, staring at my second monitor, the one with 3 coffee ring stains because I actually use it for work instead of checking social media, reading a forwarded email chain that was supposed to go to Kevin Brooks, my manager. Kevin's 31, wears designer sneakers to work, and has the kind of smile that makes you want to check your wallet afterward. He's been trying to push me toward early retirement since he got hired 8 months ago, probably because I ask inconvenient questions like, "Is this secure? And do you want our client data ending up on the dark web?" The email from Ryan read, "Kevin, draft presentation is ready. We're going to roast the old guard at the holiday party. Slide deck attached. The inefficiency of legacy employees." It frames him as the bottleneck for our Q4 security upgrade delays. VP Anderson will be there, right? This should seal the deal. He won't see it coming until we're shaking hands with our new budget allocations. My stomach dropped like an elevator with cut cables. The old guard. That's what they called me now. Not Jason, the guy who prevented 3 major data breaches last year. Not the analyst who saved the company $2.3 million in potential lawsuit damages. Just the old guard. I clicked the attachment. Ryan, genius that he is, had set the permissions to anyone with link because apparently 2-factor authentication is too much work for his streamlined workflow. The presentation was a masterpiece of creative writing. Beautiful in a sick, twisted way. They had charts showing my resistance to modern security protocols. They had graphs depicting my outdated methodology blocking critical AI-driven solutions. They accused me of hoarding system access while stonewalling innovative approaches from next-generation security professionals, meaning Ryan and his college buddies. They weren't just planning to fire me. They were going to publicly humiliate me at the company holiday party next Friday, in front of Lance Anderson, our new VP of Operations, who has a reputation for cutting dead weight with surgical precision. I sat there as the office emptied around me. Kevin, Ryan, and Stephanie Clark from HR were by the elevators, laughing about something. Kevin was checking his Apple Watch every 30 seconds like he was timing a bomb. They looked so pleased with themselves, like hunters who'd successfully cornered a deer. What they didn't realize is that they'd cornered a grizzly bear with 15 years of system access and a very long memory. I didn't slam my fist on the desk or march over there to confront them. I took a sip of my lukewarm coffee and felt that familiar cold calm wash over me. This is the part where most people start making frantic phone calls or updating their resumes. Not me. I learned a long time ago that in corporate America, panic is just fuel for the machine that destroys you. I downloaded their slide deck and took a screenshot of the email thread. Then I pulled the metadata to confirm Ryan created it during company time, probably while he should have been reviewing the security protocols I'd assigned him 3 weeks ago. They wanted to frame me for blocking security improvements. That's rich. That's like accusing a fish of being too wet. They forgot one tiny detail. I built the access logs they were planning to manipulate. I wrote the monitoring systems that track every keystroke, every permission change, every time someone even looks sideways at a sensitive server. I glanced at the clock, 5:02 p.m. The elevators dinged, carrying the 3 conspirators down to whatever trendy bar they frequent. I was alone in the office with just the hum of the server room and the gentle buzz of fluorescent lights. "All right, boys," I said to the empty room. "You want a show? I'll give you a show." I opened my terminal. That honest black screen with the blinking cursor that never lies, never flatters, just executes commands. I typed in my admin credentials. Time to go hunting. They wanted to expose my history. Fine. But first, I was going to take a detailed look at theirs, and unlike them, I wouldn't need to fabricate anything. The truth buried in corporate servers is nastier than any fiction they could invent. See, about 6 months ago, I'd quietly deployed a beta version of a monitoring system I'd been developing. I called it Watchtower, a network analysis tool that runs in the background, silently recording not just what happens on our systems, but when, where, and from which devices. It wasn't officially launched yet, wasn't in any release notes. It was my side project, running like a digital ghost in our network infrastructure, collecting data for the day I might need it. That day had arrived. Monday morning arrived like a tax audit, inevitable and unwelcome. I walked into the office wearing my standard uniform, khakis, button-down shirt, and the expression of someone thinking about server configurations. The office buzzed with that manic holiday energy that makes me want to work from home permanently. There was tinsel wrapped around the coffee machine. Someone had put reindeer antlers on the printer. And huddled in the glass-walled conference room was the conspiracy crew, Kevin, Ryan, and Stephanie, pointing at whiteboards and looking very pleased with themselves. When I walked past, their laughter stopped like someone had hit a mute button. Kevin gave me a little wave, the kind you give to someone you're planning to bury. "Morning, Jason," he called out. "Excited for the party Friday?" "Can't wait," I replied without breaking stride. "I'm hoping the open bar has something strong enough to erase the memory of Q4. He laughed, a dry, nervous sound. "Keep your calendar clear around 8 p.m., okay? We have a recognition segment planned." Recognition segment. Corporate speak for public execution. "Wouldn't miss it," I said. While they were busy choosing fonts for my professional obituary, I was performing a digital deep dive into their entire work history. Watchtower had been watching, and what it recorded was going to make their little PowerPoint presentation look like amateur hour. I started with the basics. System access logs from the past 3 months. I wanted to see exactly when and how they'd been accessing the files they claimed I'd mishandled. What I found was better than I'd hoped. Ryan's access patterns were a complete disaster. The kid had been logging in from unauthorized locations, coffee shops, his apartment complex, and most interesting, from an IP address that traced back to a residential building downtown. I cross-referenced that with our vendor database. Bingo. Secure Link Consulting. Kevin had brought them on board 4 months ago for strategic security modernization. The billing address matched the downtown IP where Ryan had been accessing our systems at 2 a.m. I dug deeper into the financial records. SecureLink was invoicing us $12,000 per month for vague services, threat assessment optimization, and legacy system integration. Over the past year, that added up to $144,000 for consulting work that seemed to consist mainly of Ryan logging in from their office at odd hours. I looked up SecureLink's incorporation documents. Public record, available to anyone who knows where to look. The registered owner, Rachel Brooks. Kevin's last name was Brooks. I went to Kevin's social media, public profile, because apparently cybersecurity managers don't understand privacy settings. Scrolled back 6 months. There it was, a photo from a family barbecue. Kevin with his arm around a woman. Caption: "Happy birthday to my brilliant sister Rachel and her new consulting business." The smoking gun wasn't just smoking, it was a whole fireworks display. Kevin was funneling company money to his sister's shell company, approving the invoices himself, and covering his tracks by planning to pin our security inefficiencies on me. But wait, there was more. I pulled up the change management logs for November 18th, the date their presentation claimed I had unilaterally blocked critical security updates. According to their slides, my resistance to change had caused a system vulnerability that required emergency patching. The log showed an approval from my account at 2:47 a.m. Problem is, I'm a 48-year-old guy with a mortgage and a 15-year-old pickup truck. I'm asleep at 2:47 a.m., not approving code deployments. Someone had used my credentials to authorize changes that resulted in a 6-hour system outage the next morning, an outage they blamed on legacy infrastructure limitations while positioning themselves as the heroes with the fix. Watchtower captured something beautiful: device fingerprints. Every computer leaves digital DNA, hardware signatures, browser configurations, typing patterns. The device that approved those changes under my name wasn't my workstation. It was a MacBook Pro registered to Kevin Brooks. They'd broken the system using my name, blamed me for the damage, then planned to present their fix as innovative thinking while painting me as the problem. It was elegant in a sociopathic way. I leaned back in my chair, watching Kevin through the glass walls as he practiced his presentation gestures. He had no idea he was walking into a wood chipper while humming Christmas carols. Around noon, I took a coffee break and walked past their war room. The whiteboard was covered with bullet points about modernization initiatives and legacy resistance patterns. They had my name circled in red marker like a target. Tuesday through Thursday crawled by like a software update on dial-up. The office was now fully weaponized with holiday cheer, aggressive sparkles everywhere, and a loop of Christmas music that violated several international treaties. While the conspiracy crew printed full-color handouts for their character assassination, I was deep in the digital evidence locker, cataloging their incompetence. It was worse than just the November 18th sabotage. Hidden folders, backdated security reports, falsified compliance documentation. Kevin hadn't just bypassed vendor security audits for SecureLink. He'd forged them entirely, copy-pasting my digital signature onto documents I'd never seen. The beautiful part? He was lazy about it. The pixelation on my signature was different from the rest of the document. It looked like a ransom note made of JPEG artifacts. By Wednesday, I had enough evidence to bury them all. But I wanted something more satisfying than a quiet termination. They'd planned a public execution for me. Fair's fair. Around 2 p.m. on Thursday, Cole Martinez, a junior developer I'd mentored, appeared at my desk looking nervous. "Hey, Jason," he mumbled, checking over his shoulder. "You going to the party tomorrow night?" "Planning on it." "Why?" Cole shifted his weight. "Listen, I shouldn't say anything, but I saw the presentation lineup. Kevin has this whole segment about modernization versus legacy thinking. You're going to be the example of what's wrong with the old approach." I kept my expression neutral. "Appreciate the heads up, Cole. Maybe call in sick, family." "Emergency?" I smiled, genuine this time, but not happy. "Don't worry about me, kid. I'll be fine." Thursday evening, I stayed late to set the trap. I wrote a script, simple, elegant, and absolutely devastating. It monitored the presentation system, looking for specific keywords from their slide deck. Jason Walsh, legacy inefficiency, security bottleneck, outdated methodology. If those keywords appeared during a live presentation, my script would execute a single command: compile and distribute evidence. It wouldn't just crash their PowerPoint, that's petty. My script would compile everything: the forged signatures, the shell company invoices, Ryan's unauthorized access logs, Kevin's device fingerprints, the November 18th sabotage evidence, and instantly email it to 4 recipients: General Counsel, HR Director, External Auditors, and Lance Anderson. Subject line: Automated Security Alert. Internal Fraud Detected. Level 1 Severity. I tested it in a sandbox environment. Worked perfectly. It was a digital landmine. All they had to do was walk into that room and start their presentation. Friday arrived with the grim inevitability of a root canal. The office vibrated with Mariah Carey at volumes that made my coffee ripple. Kevin was wearing a velvet blazer that looked like it was stolen from a 1970s game show host. Ryan had on a sweater that said "Coding is my cardio." Stephanie wore reindeer antlers that bobbed when she walked. I spent the day doing absolutely nothing productive. Moved my mouse occasionally to keep my status active, but mostly stared at my screen, visualizing the code I'd planted sleeping in the presentation server's root directory like a digital time bomb. At 4:30 p.m., people started leaving to get ready for the party at the downtown hotel. The company was bleeding money laying off support staff, but sure, let's spend 50 grand on shrimp cocktails and an ice sculpture. I packed my things methodically: my framed photo of my restored '67 Mustang, my lucky coffee mug, my backup reading glasses. It felt like clearing out a desk for the last time. In a way, it was. Monday morning, everything would be different. I drove home in silence, stopped at the liquor store, and bought a bottle of good bourbon. Not the usual Friday night stuff, but the celebration whiskey. Woodford Reserve, the kind you save for special occasions. My apartment was quiet. I fed my ancient tabby cat Diesel, changed into comfortable clothes, and set up my command center at the kitchen table. Laptop open, VPN connected, dual monitors running. Left monitor, internal Slack channels that would light up the moment things went sideways. Right monitor, terminal window with a live connection to the server logs. I poured 2 fingers of bourbon. Dark amber, smelled like oak and victory. The clock read 7:45 p.m. The party was starting. Slack lit up with selfies and cocktail photos. Kevin posted a picture of the stage with the caption, "Big night ahead, time to embrace the future and learn from the past." Innovation. Learn from the past. Careful what you wish for, Kevin. The hotel ballroom would be filling up now. Round tables with white tablecloths, dim lighting, the smell of expensive perfume and cheap ambition. Lance Anderson would be sitting at the center table, flanked by other executives. Kevin would be backstage, adjusting his mic, sweating in that velvet blazer despite the air conditioning. 8:14 p.m. Terminal showed. File open. Q4. Security modernization, so final V3. PPTX. Here we go. I leaned forward. My house was silent except for diesel purring and the refrigerator humming. It felt like the moment before lightning strikes, when the air gets electric and every hair on your arm stands up. Terminal, slide advance, 1, 2, 3. Kevin was going through his intro slides, warming up the crowd with jokes about holiday office parties and year-end reviews. Terminal, slide, 4, 5, getting warmer. He'd be talking about innovation now, about the need for fresh thinking in cybersecurity. Terminal, slide 6, current security challenges, almost there. Terminal, system detected keywords, legacy systems and personnel. Jason Walsh, security analyst. Bottleneck identification. The words on my screen turned from green to red. Trigger condition met. Executing security protocol. It happened faster than a heartbeat. The script grabbed my evidence package, 2.3 GB of compressed fraud documentation, and fired it like a guided missile to all 4 targets. Compiling attachments, secure link invoices, forged compliance documents, unauthorized access logs, device fingerprint analysis, financial transaction records. Email sent to legal@cyberflow, HR director at cyberflow, external audit at cyberflow, L. Anderson at cyberflow, recipients confirmed, delivery successful. But I wasn't finished. Part 2 of my script kicked in. Display override. On my server logs, I watched the PowerPoint freeze mid-presentation. Kevin would be clicking his remote frantically. Nothing happening. He'd look back at the screen, chuckle nervously. Technical difficulties, folks. You know how it is with legacy systems. Then my script took over the projector feed. The screen went black. In plain white text, a single message appeared. Security breach detected. Unauthorized data manipulation identified. Incident report automatically generated and distributed to executive leadership. Please stand by for further instructions. 8:23 p.m. The Slack channel went dead silent. No more party photos, no more cocktail selfies. Then the typing indicators exploded like popcorn. What's happening? System crashed? The screen just went black. Look at Kevin's face. Is this a joke? I took a slow sip of bourbon. It tasted like 15 years of accumulated frustration finally finding release. On the server logs, frantic activity. User Kevin attempting forced application closure. Access denied. Admin lockout in effect. He was mashing buttons, trying to reboot the server, trying to kill my message. But a level 1 security alert locks down everything until cleared by C-level authorization. Standard protocol I'd written into the system 3 years ago. Somewhere in that hotel ballroom, phones were buzzing. Lance Anderson's phone, general counsel's phone, HR director's phone, the external auditors who were attending as guests. Email receipt confirmations started popping up. Opened by L. Anderson at Cyberflow at 8:24 p.m. Opened by Legal at Cyberflow at 8:24 p.m. Opened by HR Director at Cyberflow at 8:25 p.m. I closed my eyes and let the silence wash over me. I wasn't a victim anymore. I wasn't the old guard waiting to be put out to pasture. I was the inevitable consequence of their own arrogance and greed. 8:28 p.m. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Caller ID, Kevin Brooks. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times. Let him sweat. Let him hear the sound of his career circling the drain. Finally, I answered. Hello, Jason, where the hell are you? Kevin's voice was an octave higher than usual. Background noise of a room in chaos. Confused voices, the clink of silverware being set down, the heavy silence of a party that had suddenly become awake. I'm at home, Kevin. It's Friday night. The system's crashed. The screen is locked on some security alert. The VP is asking questions. You need to log in and clear this right now. Did you check your email? I don't have time for email. The presentation is ruined. Just fix the screen. You should check it. Specifically, the automated security report that just went out to the board explains everything. Pause. Heavy breathing. The sound of a man realizing he's been outplayed. What did you do? I didn't do anything, I said, settling back in my chair with my bourbon. The system did it. Watchtower detected unauthorized financial transactions and forged documentation. Specifically, it found someone routing company funds to SecureLink Consulting while using stolen credentials to sabotage security protocols. The silence stretched like a tightrope over a canyon. "You can't prove anything," he whispered, but his voice had lost all its swagger. "Kevin, I built the system that caught you. Device fingerprints, IP geolocation logs, financial transaction records, forged signature analysis. It's all in the report that just went to the board of directors. Listen, we can work this out. I'll get you that promotion we talked about. Just kill the alert and we'll forget this whole thing happened." "Too late," I said, taking another sip. "When fraud exceeds $100,000, it triggers automatic external reporting. The external auditors got copies. I can't stop it. You can't stop it. Lance Anderson can't stop it. It's federal now. You destroyed my life." "No," I said, reaching for the end call button. "You tried to frame the guy who built the digital prison. You just locked yourself in." I hung up and turned off my phone. Kevin called back 4 more times. I let them all go to voicemail. The weekend passed in a blur of news updates through the company's Slack channels. By Saturday morning, IT security had seized Kevin's workstation. By Sunday, Ryan and Stephanie were suspended pending investigation. The hotel was probably still trying to figure out what happened to their AV system. Monday morning felt like walking into a library after a tornado. The structure was intact, but everything inside had been reorganized by forces beyond human control. The holiday decorations looked like crime scene tape. Kevin's office was empty, his belongings boxed and sitting by the security desk. People looked at me differently now. Not with the casual dismissal of the old guard, but with something approaching respect. Or maybe caution. I'd become the guy you don't cross because he'll dismantle your entire existence with a few lines of code. At 9 a.m. sharp, my computer chimed with a calendar invite. Lance Anderson, immediate meeting required. I grabbed my coffee, black, no sugar, and walked to the VP's office. Lance Anderson was a tall man with silver hair and the kind of eyes that had seen enough corporate disasters to fill a forensics textbook. He was reading a printed stack of papers, my papers, the evidence package that had destroyed 3 careers in one evening. "Sit down, Jason." His voice was gravelly, measured. "Close the door." I sat and waited. "I spent the weekend with our general counsel and external auditors reviewing your automated security report," he said, tapping the stack. "This is thorough work, comprehensive." I nodded but didn't say anything. "Kevin Brooks has been terminated for cause. The FBI is reviewing criminal charges for wire fraud and embezzlement. Ryan Pierce is suspended pending determination of his level of involvement. Stephanie Clark is being investigated for her role in falsifying HR documentation." "I see." Anderson leaned back, taking off his reading glasses. "They tried to paint you as obsolete. Said you were blocking progress, holding back innovation. But looking at this evidence, you were the only thing standing between this company and a complete security meltdown." He slid a folder across the desk. "I don't need a senior security analyst anymore, Jason. I need a director of cybersecurity. Direct report to me. Your own team, your own budget. You clean house and build this department the right way." I looked at the folder. Director position. Corner office. Salary that would pay off my mortgage and fund my Mustang restoration project for the next decade. "One condition," I said. Anderson raised an eyebrow. "I want budget to implement Watchtower company-wide. Every department, every employee, full network monitoring with automated compliance reporting. No more shell companies, no more forged signatures, no more midnight approvals from coffee shops." He smiled, the first genuine expression I'd seen from him. "Done. When can you start?" "I already started. Watchtower's been running for 6 months. I just need to make it official." We shook hands. Solid grip. Honest handshake. Walking back through the office, I stopped by Cole Martinez's desk. The kid who'd warned me about the presentation was hunched over his monitor, looking nervous. "Cole," I said, "good work on the Q3 security patches. Clean code, solid documentation." He looked up, surprised. "Thanks, Jason. I heard about the promotion. Congratulations." "Thanks. You interested in joining my new team? I'm going to need someone who understands both legacy systems and modern protocols." His face lit up. "Seriously?" "Seriously. But fair warning, We're going to be the guys who make sure this never happens again. That means we'll be the most hated department in the company. Sounds perfect, he grinned. The investigation wrapped up over the next month. Kevin pled guilty to federal wire fraud charges and got 18 months in minimum security. SecureLink Consulting was dissolved. Rachel Brooks cooperated with authorities and received probation. Ryan found work at a startup that folded before his first paycheck cleared. But I kept one piece of evidence for myself. Buried in Watchtower's technical logs was an audio capture from Kevin's workstation during one of his late-night authorization sessions. 30 seconds of scratchy but clear conversation. "Don't worry, babe. Once we get rid of the old dinosaur, my budget's going to triple. We can finally take that European vacation." "You're so bad, Kevin. I'm the future, Stephanie. He's just legacy code waiting to be deleted. I listened to it once, then deleted the file." Some victories don't need trophies. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my new corner office, watching the Austin skyline through actual windows instead of fluorescent-lit cubicle walls. My team has grown to 8 people, experienced professionals who understand that security isn't about being trendy, it's about being thorough. Watchtower is now mandatory across all departments. Every transaction monitored, every approval verified, every login tracked. The company's security posture went from hope for the best to trust but verify everything. The best part? Last week, our external auditors called our system industry-leading and recommended it as a case study for other companies. That's my legacy code for you, still running, still protecting, still proving that experience beats arrogance every single time. Kevin wanted to teach everyone about the future of cybersecurity. Mission accomplished. The future is knowing that the guy who built your digital world is watching, and he doesn't forget, and he definitely doesn't forgive fraud. Welcome to my house. Hope you learned something useful during your stay.